So now let's move on the next part, which is directory. Okay. Now again and again, I'm repeating that all the files, search, file opening, everything has to go via a directory structure. Now what is this directory structure? So let's see what is this actually. Okay. If you remember, our hard disk or secondary storage will store terabytes of data. There is a huge data, lots and lots of information is there, lots and lots of data is there, right? So it is very important to somehow manage all this data or organize all this data properly to have or to have the efficient utilization of all the resources which are there. Okay. We have also seen that to make it simpler, operating system, before we can use our hard disk, operating system perform two operations, right? Or two types of partitioning and formatting, basically two steps it will do before it allow us to write anything on the disk. Okay. So if you recall those operations, the first operation is partitioning. The hard disk is partition, so there are some group of cylinders which they called it as one drive or one partition or one volume. So depending upon the operating system, some says it is a partition, some say it is a volume, some say it is a drive, etc. Okay. But the overall idea is to group some cylinders into a logical unit and call it as one partition or one volume, right? So this is the first step, and the second step is related with installing the file system. Okay, which will actually install all this information about what it contains. Okay, so installation of file system. In installation of file system, what it does actually is it will make a directory. Now, what do you mean by directory? Directory is nothing but a collection of different files and other directories. Okay, so it can also be considered as a big file, or some set of information actually. Okay, so what a directory does? A directory maps file name with the disk location. Okay, so if you remember my diagram, I make two columns: file name and the start location of the file. Okay, so this is called directory. A directory is a data structure which will provide the information that which file is stored where in the disk. Okay, so it actually maps file name with the disk location. So there is no need for the user to remember all the disk location. You just have to remember file name, and directory will actually help you in that case. Okay. Now, a single directory can contain files or other directories. So it is not file name, it could be a directory name also, and the location of that directory name. And what is that directory? That directory is yet another file which will store information about other directories and other files. Right? So a modern file system is made up of many directories. There is one directory inside other, and group of directories, right? Right. So now when we give file name, we generally have to give the entire path. Okay, it could be a relative path or it could be a absolute path. Okay, what is the difference between the two? So suppose we are having a directory name user. This is a directory. Inside this there is one. So I am just making directory as represented by this symbol. Okay, or let me just make a big directory. Okay, suppose this is the big directory, and the name of this directory is slash, suppose, right? There is another directory inside this directory, and the name of this directory is, say, user, and there are other directories as well. If we see inside user directory, there is something called A. Okay, and inside this there is a file, say lab8.c. Okay, so this is the structure. Now if you want to access lab8.c, you have to give the path user /a lab8.c. Okay, this is called absolute path. File location from the beginning of the directory. So root is the first directory that is made by the operating system. I mean, it is at the highest level. Okay, so this is the absolute path. Suppose currently you are here, currently you are inside the user directory. At this point, you can give the path as /a/lab8.c. This is called relative path. It is relative to user directory. Okay, so relative path means file location relative to your current directory. So if you are currently in user, you can use this path, and this is called relative path. Okay, so there are two ways: relative path name and absolute path name you can give to access any file. Okay, now please remember that each file have a unique path in the directory. Okay, and a file can have more than one path. Also, a file can have more than one path, but the same path name cannot be used to represent multiple files. So inside this directory, you cannot make another file with same name and extension. Lab8.c is not allowed, because in that case there are same path for two different files, which is not allowed. Okay, but what you can do is you can have, another folder here, say B. Okay, and inside that, you are referring to lab8, or you are keeping a copy of lab8. Okay, not copy, actually you are referring, there is a link to this. So lab8 can be accessed in two ways. Either you can go user/user A, B and this, or you can go B and lab8. Okay, so one file can be accessed by multiple location, but the vice versa is not true. On the same location, you cannot access two different files with same name. Okay, so this is the example. This is the directory, and this is a path. So one file can be accessed via two different ways, but it is not possible that there is only one path which is accessing two different files. This is not allowed. Okay, all right. So what is directory structure? Directory structure is nothing but it is a collection of nodes. You can consider it as a collection of nodes which contain information about files. Okay, so I am drawing it in this way. It is exactly same. So the first thing is file name. Okay, and the second thing is the location. Okay, start location. So this is represented by the location. So this is the location information of F1, F2 is this, right? So both are equivalent way, just a different way to represent the same thing. Okay, so what is a directory? It is a collection of nodes which contain information about the files. Okay, and both directory structure as well as the file will reside on our secondary storage. Okay, all right. So you can see this file system organization which is made by the operating system. So this is partition A. Now this partition A is nothing but a directory, big directory which have certain files. Okay, this is partition B, again a directory which is having certain files. Okay, then we have partition C. It may be across different disks. Okay, that doesn't matter, right? So this is disk 1. In disk 1 there are two partition. It may be possible that two disks are combined to have one partition. Okay, but the directory structure is providing the abstraction over all this physical details. All right, now what information is stored in the directory? So the name, the type, address, length, maximum length, date access, date modified, owner, protection, all the information are stored in this directory structure. Okay, and what are the operations that we can perform? We can search for a file, we can create a file. So whenever we create a file, there is an entry in the directory structure. We can delete a file from a directory structure. We can list a directory. So there is a command ls which will list all the directories or and the files which are present in a particular directory. Okay, we can rename the file, we can traverse the file system, etc. Okay, so all these operations can be performed. Now, so now we have learned that okay, these are the files. These files are somehow managed by a directory structure, which is again a collection of information about the files. Okay. Now, what actually we want? We want somehow we will access this directory in an efficient manner. Yes. If we want to search a file quickly, we can get the file. There should be conveniency to the users while naming the files. Okay, so it may be possible that there are two users, they can give same name to different file, different names to same file, something like that. So all that flexibility we want. We want some operations like grouping operation. If I say please show me all the files which are having extension as .java, all the files which are related with media related files, etc., right? So I want to have all these operations in an efficient manner, right? So how to do that actually? How to organize this directory structure in such a way that all these operations can be efficiently performed. Okay, so now let's look into that particular part, right? One way is should be a single directory for all users. Okay, so that is a way to have organizing the directory structure. We only have one single directory. Okay, and this directory have all the information about the files. Okay, what is the problem with this? It is very easy to implement. So in that sense it is very easy. You have to do nothing, just make one directory and keep everything whatever coming inside that particular directory. Okay, the problem is we don't have the flexibility to give same names by two different users. Even a single user cannot give two different names, because everything you have to store should be in one directory, and in one directory there should not be any two files with same name. Okay, so that naming is a problem, not only for multiple users but even for a single user. Grouping is a problem. We don't know which file belongs to which user, right? If we say please collect all .java files, we can't do that. We can't do that because it is all mixed up. Okay, so single level is easy, but it will not providing us the required functionality. So then there comes the two level directory structure, which says okay, just make one directory for each user, which is called master directory, something called that master file directory, and then each user is allowed to make their own directories and store file in it. Okay, and then we are having this relative and absolute naming path structure, which will actually, so when we are using same directory, there is nothing called path and all. Okay, everything you have to do is just access the file. Everything you find, all the files are in this directory only. But once you make a two level, or you increase the levels or the hierarchy, you need to name them according to absolute or relative, depending upon where you are standing right now. Okay, and yes, this will provide us the flexibility to have same file name for different users. So for example, user one can also give a test name and user two can also have a test name. Okay, even for the directories or for the files. It is efficient in searching. So if I am a user one, I just have to go this way. Instead of searching all this, I just have to search these many nodes. Okay, so yes, it will increase that efficiency, but still it is not providing the grouping capability, because if I come under user one, there is everything is same, right? So it is kind of a single directory for one user. Okay, so then people come up with tree structured directories. Now, in this, directory structure is made up of nodes and leaves. So there is a notion of nodes and leaves. The directories are called nodes. Okay, and whenever we are having a file in that directory, it is called a leaf. Okay, each directory can contain files or subdirectories. So inside one directory, there could be a file and there could be a directory. Okay, so this is maybe node 2, it contains another file. Right, so node is a directory, leaf is a file. In a file, you cannot make any other file or directory. Okay, understood? One important property is each node or leaf has only one parent. Okay, so it is not something like that you are coming from another node also. No, this is not allowed. Okay, so there is a unique path to reach at every node or a leaf. Okay, so this is the structure. We are having this root directory. Okay, in that we are having subdirectories. In each subdirectories, user is allowed to make their own directories. You can keep files directory, or you can have more directories inside directories, and so on. Okay, and if you see, there is a, so to each node there is a unique path you need to follow in order to come there. Okay, there are no multiple paths to come to one node. Okay, and this means that there is only one parent for each node or leaf. Now, what are the advantages of this? It allows user to have their own directories. Okay, so user is allowed to create their own subdirectories. Different files can now have same name. Okay, user has a current directory. So, I mean, as a user, I know that in which particular directory I have to go, and I can do grouping inside my directory, right? And definitely we can make use of absolute or relative path depending upon the situation, right? So trees are fairly easy to travel and maintain, but there is one problem, and the problem is how to do file sharing. How to do file sharing? To reach to each node, there is only one path. Okay, we have to follow that path. How this file can be shared between two users? So this is not allowed in our case, in tree structured case, right? But this is really important feature to have. Okay, so actually what we want is, so in tree structure there is only one parent allowed. We want more than one parent, would be possible in order to have the feature of sharing. Okay, we want that our file could have multiple references rather than one single reference. So then comes yet another organization of directories called acyclic graph directory. It is exactly same as the tree structured directories, except each node or leaf can have now more than one parents. Okay, so this is the example. So this file could be referred or referenced by this and this, both. So the file is one, but it could be shared, so there are links associated with the file. Okay, so for this file there is an entry in this directory structure also, in this directory structure also. Okay, and this is how these links are made. What do we mean by links? Link means there is an entry of that. Okay, so we have there are two tables, one for this and one for this. In both these tables there is the entry of this file. Okay, so yes, with this we can have same file, and sharing of the file is allowed. Okay, so one requirement is that there can be no cycle. Now if you are following this type of directory structure, you have to maintain or keep in mind that there should not be any cycle. Now what do I mean by cycle? So I will show you in a minute. Okay, but yes, the sharing is now becomes easy. Okay, so let's come to the cycle part. Okay, so before cycle, let me tell you about the link. So Unix actually follows this acyclic graph directory structures. Okay, so what happened is, so I told you what a link is. You have to make the entry of another directory into this directory. Okay. So if there are two directories which are sharing the same file, or if the directory is shared, you have to make the entry in both. Okay. Now, in Unix, a reference count is kept for each file or directory. When there are no more references to a file, it is deleted. Okay, so these lines are nothing but the references. If suppose, we delete the file from this and we delete the file from this, this file is of no use. Okay, so Unix will delete the file also. If there are no references, we will delete the file. So with each file or with each directory, we will also maintain reference count. How many people are referencing, how many processes are referencing to the directory. Okay. And why we need to maintain, I already told you. If there are no references to a particular file, then that is a garbage thing. And we don't want any garbage in our memory. Okay. We are already having shortage of memory. Okay. So when no more references to a file, it is deleted. Okay. Now Unix does not have any explicit delete method. It is inbuilt in the unlink. So basically, there are two operations, or there are two functions that Unix call. One is link, which will actually create a link or made an entry in other directory, and the other function is unlink. So when we delete a file, it actually unlinks the reference. Okay, so this link is unlinked, and before unlinking, it will check that if the references are 0, let's delete it. So we will not call delete function separately. Uses unlink to remove a reference to the file. Okay. All right, now let's see what is the problem with the cycle. So suppose we are having these two directories. Okay, and in bar one directory we are having an entry of link and in link we are having an entry of bar. Okay, and this is a cycle. All right, now what is the problem? The problem is, suppose I have to unlink this. Okay, I have to remove this. So what Unix will do? Unix will say, okay, let me delete this or unlink this, but before unlinking, let me check what is the reference count for bar. Okay, if reference count is 0, I will delete the bar. Otherwise, I will just unlink it. So the reference count of a bar is 2, right? One reference is this and another reference is this. There are two in arrows, right? So the reference count is 2. So what Unix will do, it will say, okay, so I cannot delete the file, just remove this link, right? And this is the structure which will happen. Now what happened, this is a garbage thing which is revolve or moving in the memory. You cannot anyway reach to this particular folder. Okay, but you cannot delete it because of this problem. Okay, now you need garbage collection to delete it from the memory, and garbage collection is extremely time consuming job. Okay, and that is the reason you don't want cycles in your directory structures. Okay, there is one more problem which may occur if the cycle is there. Now what is the problem? Suppose you want to delete everything which is beneath bar. Okay, you have to delete bar. So generally when we delete a directory, Unix will delete all the things which are inside that directory. Okay, so first that thing will get deleted, and after that, the directory will get deleted, right? So okay, now Unix will try to search, okay, what is there in the bar? There is one more directory link. So let's go to link and delete it first. Okay, so before deleting link, what is there inside the link? There is a directory bar. Let's first delete it. Okay, what is inside the bar? There is link. Let's first delete it. Okay, so can you see the problem? There is this infinite loop in which the system will stuck. Okay, just because of the cycle. Okay, and that is the reason we don't want cycle in our directory structure. Okay, so therefore the structure is called acyclic graph directories. It is acyclic. Okay, cycle should not be there. Now, how we make sure that the cycle will not be there? How the system will make sure that we don't have any cycles, or how it could be avoided? Okay, so let's learn about a little more, or one more concept, and that is links, right? So you already aware of hard links. Hard links means the actual entry in the directory, right, which points directly to the directory, or the file. There is one more thing in Unix which is called symbolic links. Not Unix, but in all operating systems. In Windows, it is something called shortcuts. If you have observed, shortcuts are nothing but symbolic links. Okay. Now, what is the symbolic link or soft links? In this, we will not do hard link. We will not do actual entry in the directory structure. It is a special file that contains a path name to another file or directory. Okay. So when it is encountered, read the file, follow the path as described in the file. Okay. So whenever you try to open that link, okay, what it will do, it will go to this special file, read the file, and follow the path which is described in the file. Okay, and it does not count in the reference. Soft links, hard links are count in the reference, but soft links are not count in the referencing scheme. Okay, so let me show you the example. Now what we will do, so we are having this entry, but once if the user wants this entry as well, we will not do actual entry. We will store this soft link file, and this soft link file says, from link, if you want to go to bar, just go to root, then to bar. Okay, just follow this path, not this path directly. Okay, what is the advantage of this? Now suppose if I says, okay, please delete this, the reference count is 0. Okay, and hence all the things get deleted. Okay, so in this sense it is helpful. Okay, so in the deletion also, in anything, it is helpful. And specifically, you don't need any garbage collection to do the job. It is done by the normal operating system routines. Okay.